In this episode, we talk about, I know this is going to sound crazy. I know this is going to sound counterintuitive, but we talk about why you should spend as much as you possibly can, no matter how uncomfortable this makes you, on your house, on your mortgage. This is episode 31 of the Inside Real Estate Show with me, Darin Persinger. I am your host here, bringing you the insight behind the information. Also with Persinger Group Real Estate, where we're helping you make smart home buying, home selling, and real estate investing decisions. Welcome to this episode. As I mentioned, stick with me for this show. Maybe you already tuned out. You're like, that sounds crazy. And I agree, it sounds crazy. This is not advice that I would normally give, to spend as much as you possibly can. But give me a chance. I will explain as we get into the main topic. But before we do that, let's do some housekeeping. Housekeeping! All right, something that I'm really proud of, and this is a lot because of you. If the fact that you're just watching or listening somewhere, we've had 2,000 downloads on our podcast. So if you're listening, thank you for that. And our YouTube channel now has reached 12,000 views. I'm pretty excited about that. I know there's plenty of videos out there. There's probably a million cat videos that have more views than my entire channel does. I understand that. But for context's sake of what we're doing here, of what we're sharing, what we're building, the information that we're providing to you, I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the 2,000 downloads on the podcast and the 12,000 views. And a lot of that is thanks to you. One thing I'd ask you to do is, if you're enjoying this information, if you're finding it valuable, please share it. Share it online, share it in your email, share it on your Facebook page. Share it specifically with someone that you know that is thinking about buying a house, selling, or wants to get started with real estate investing. Just share the YouTube channel with them, a specific episode that you like, or the podcast. I really appreciate that. And let's keep those numbers going so that I can surpass some of the cat videos online. All right, now that we've set the mission to overtake some cat videos out there, let's get into the main topic. All right, main topic today. As I said, I want you to spend as much as you possibly can. Now, this advice is not for everyone, okay? So maybe you're ready to tune out, but maybe this is for you, and you're still ready to tune out. So just give me a chance here to lay the foundation here, and then you can decide in a minute or two if this episode is for you or not. Inside my book, Home Buying Made Easy, so one of the Persinger principles that I mentioned in this book is that a mortgage lender will tell you what you can afford, but you decide what you will spend. So that's in the book. And I don't talk about in the book what I'm about to share with you here, because this is a little bit more specific advice. This is more general advice. This is going to fit a majority, where what I'm talking about today is going to fit the minority. A mortgage lender will tell you what you can afford, but you decide what you will spend. Now, I'm going to say the caveat to that is, if you're of a certain way with money, maybe you should spend as much as you possibly can on your mortgage, because your home is a great forced savings account. And let me just share with you a crazy number. I found this on the Consumer Affairs website, and it comes from a 2012 National Financial Capability Study. What it says is that 40% of Americans said they either could not or probably could not come up with $2,000 in the event of an emergency. 40% of people could not come up with $2,000 in the event of an emergency. I just want you to think about what $2,000 is. $2,000 can be a lot of money, or it could be something that you absolutely most likely need, depending on your situation, your context for things. $2,000 can be a transmission for your car. The transmission in your car goes out, where are you going to get $2,000? $2,000 could be a refrigerator. The refrigerator decides to stop working in your house. Where are you going to come up with the $2,000? 40% of us can't come up with that. Now, how to know if you are someone that should be spending as much as possible? So let me break this down and give you an idea of who, if this sounds like you probably should be someone who should spend as much as possible on your mortgage. Okay, here we go. If you're a first-time home buyer and you go to the lender and the lender says, okay, you can afford X. You can afford X amount, but you don't have much of a down payment at all. And that X amount is a lot more than what your current rent is, but you don't have much of a down payment. You're probably someone that would be a good candidate for this idea of spending as much as you can on your mortgage. Because what a mortgage lender is going to tell you is you can spend X% of your income total. So adding up your student loans, your car payments, your credit card debt, any recurring debt that you have, plus adding in the new mortgage, you can afford, talk to your local lender or your preferred lender about this, because these numbers always seem to change a little bit, but the kind of rule of thumb is 42%. So if you add up all of your debt, including the new mortgage that you're going to take on, it's going to be 42% of your income. If you look at that number and they say, like, for example, oh, you can afford a $2,000 mortgage, but right now your rent is $1,200, and you're like, oh, I don't feel comfortable with that at all. And you have very little money for a down payment. You have to question yourself, where's my money going? What's happening to my money? You're probably someone like myself that would be a good candidate for stuff it into a mortgage, use the benefit of the forced savings account so you don't spend the money foolishly on something that you don't have to show for it in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Okay? So first-time home buyer, if you're looking to buy your next home, if you already own a home, and the same kind of thing, if you're looking to move up to a property and the lender says, hey, you can afford this, and you're like, I don't feel comfortable with that. We've been spending this on our mortgage, and even though we might be putting more down or whatever, and the lender says we can afford this, if you don't feel comfortable with that, but you don't have a lot of money piled away in savings, or you've been putting away in investments, or you're not bringing a lot of money for your down payment, it's just equity that you're selling your home for, and you're using that as a down payment, but you don't have anything else socked away in savings or investments, again, you're probably someone that would benefit from putting the money into your mortgage. Now, I say this, I've been trying to say that the show is not for everyone. This specific episode is not for everyone, and maybe it's for you, and I'd love to talk to you more about your specific situation, because I don't want anyone to get into financial trouble. That's the last thing that I want, okay? I've been there before. It's not a good feeling. It's the last thing that I would want for someone that is listening or watching the show, or for any of my friends or family. So what I'm saying is I want you to really hear what I'm saying, okay? I really want you to listen to this and take it a little bit with a grain of salt here. You have to look at your situation and decide if, don't trick yourself. I see a lot of people do this with money, or heck, with diet or exercise or a bunch of things. We trick ourselves into thinking that we can just be disciplined enough to change a habit, a bad habit, or start a good habit. I'm going to start exercising every day. I'm going to start eating right. I'm going to cut sugar out of my diet. whatever it is. And we think we're disciplined enough to do that, and yet we don't. The same thing comes into money. We go, oh, we're going to buy the new home, but I can't afford the down payment or this or that. So we have to, what I'm saying is control your environment a little bit better instead of just relying on discipline. Really look to see if maybe a strategy like this, getting outside your comfort zone instead of relying purely on motivation, might be the best thing for you so that you can use a home as a forced savings account so we don't end up like 40% of Americans that are in such poor financial shape that we can't even come up with $2,000. And on a lighter note, on a brighter note, reminding you that home is what you make it someplace you love.